is coming, Captain. Doom is rewriting everything.
Hang in there, Logan. I promised you a sequel.
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Avengers Doomsday not only unites multiple hero factions but also offers an intricate examination of character relationships and the evolution of individual arcs within the MCU's broader timeline. Each character's journey is intertwined with both personal stakes and collective responsibility, reflecting the complex dynamics that arise when disparate heroes are forced to collaborate against a universe-threatening adversary. The Russo brothers have reportedly focused on developing emotional arcs for even minor characters, understanding that audience engagement relies as much on personal investment in characters as on spectacle. Sam Wilson's evolution as Captain America exemplifies this approach. Having inherited the mantle from Steve Rogers, Sam confronts both external challenges posed by Dr. Doom and internal challenges of identity, leadership, and moral clarity. His arc likely explores how legacy informs action, emphasizing the tension between honoring past heroes and defining one's own path. This narrative thread resonates across multiple characters, creating a thematic through-line about responsibility, self-discovery, and the ethical use of power. Thor's arc in Avengers Doomsday is expected to expand upon his godly responsibilities and the moral weight of decisions made in prior MCU entries. Having survived Ragnarok, Thanos, and subsequent multiversal disturbances, Thor carries both the burden of experience and the expectation of leadership. His interactions with other characters, such as Sam Wilson or Reed Richards, may emphasize contrasts in heroism, highlighting differing approaches to leadership, ethics, and problem-solving. Thor's narrative also allows exploration of mythic themes, with his godly status juxtaposed against the mortal vulnerabilities and moral dilemmas of other heroes. The juxtaposition of godlike power with human relational and ethical challenges creates a layered, resonant portrayal, inviting audiences to reflect on the nature of heroism across scales of responsibility and power. Dr. Doom's narrative complexity is central to the film's tension. As a villain, Doom operates on multiple planes: intellectual, mystical, political, and psychological. His genius-level intellect enables intricate strategies that manipulate not only physical events but also the choices, fears, and moral compasses of the heroes. Doom's mastery of both technology and sorcery makes him uniquely capable of threatening the multiverse itself. In addition, casting Robert Downey Jr. in this role adds layers of narrative resonance. Given his iconic association with Tony Stark/Iron Man, audiences may find themselves navigating cognitive dissonance, reconciling Downey's heroic legacy with Doom's morally ambiguous actions. This casting choice not only elevates Doom's presence as a narrative figure but also underscores themes of duality, legacy, and the fluidity of moral identity within the MCU's expansive storytelling framework. The Fantastic Four's integration into Avengers Doomsday enriches both the narrative and thematic dimensions of the film. Reed Richards, known for his analytical brilliance and problem-solving capabilities, is expected to serve as a key strategist, coordinating complex countermeasures against Doom's multiversal manipulations. Sue Storm, embodying leadership, empathy, and tactical acumen, provides both narrative stability and moral grounding, particularly in sequences where teamwork and trust are essential. Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm contribute dynamic interpersonal energy, combining impulsive heroism and grounded pragmatism, respectively, which allows for both comic relief and meaningful character contrast. The inclusion of the Fantastic Four emphasizes the film's theme of intellectual as well as physical heroism, blending cerebral strategy with superhuman abilities in a way that complements other hero factions. The X-Men's arrival in the MCU introduces additional narrative and emotional layers. Characters such as Professor X and potentially Jean Grey, Wolverine, or Cyclops bring complex histories, ethical philosophies, and powers that extend both narrative and thematic possibilities. The X-Men are traditionally concerned with prejudice, coexistence, and moral responsibility, themes that may intersect with the Avengers' more action-oriented approaches. These philosophical contrasts create opportunities for both tension and growth, allowing characters to challenge one another, refine strategies, and develop mutual respect in the face of existential threats. The ethical dimension of the X-Men's involvement underscores Marvel's ongoing commitment to character-driven storytelling, even within the context of a large-scale, multiversal conflict. The narrative structure of Avengers Doomsday is expected to utilize a multi-threaded approach, with parallel storylines intersecting across multiple locations and realities. Individual character arcs may unfold within their own narrative spaces, yet converge at key moments to facilitate thematic resonance and plot coherence. For instance, a sequence may follow Reed Richards and Sue Storm devising a scientific solution while simultaneously showing the X-Men navigating moral dilemmas in an alternate dimension. Meanwhile, Sam Wilson and Thor may engage Doom's forces in a strategic, physical confrontation. Such narrative layering allows for rich, interconnected storytelling that emphasizes the film's scale without sacrificing character depth. By orchestrating parallel arcs with convergent climaxes, the Russo brothers can maintain both narrative clarity and audience engagement, a hallmark of their previous ensemble films. The anticipated battle sequences in Avengers Doomsday represent a convergence of strategy, spectacle, and character development. Unlike traditional action set pieces, these sequences are expected to integrate ethical dilemmas, personal stakes, and strategic complexity. For example, heroes may face choices that force them to weigh collateral damage against immediate victory, or moral compromises against long-term outcomes. Such moments provide dramatic tension and allow characters to demonstrate growth, leadership, and ethical decision-making. The Russo brothers have emphasized that each faction's unique abilities will be showcased in ways that reinforce their narrative identities, from Thor's godly might and Reed Richards' scientific ingenuity to the X-Men's mutant powers and Dr. Doom's combination of sorcery and technology. Interpersonal relationships form a core component of the film's narrative resonance. The interactions between legacy characters and new heroes allow for mentorship, rivalry, and collaboration, deepening emotional engagement. Sam Wilson may learn from Thor's experience, while Reed Richards and Professor X exchange perspectives on strategy, ethics, and the broader implications of multiversal threats. Conflicts may arise not only from physical confrontation but also from philosophical differences, personal histories, and leadership styles, providing a multi-layered exploration of character dynamics. Relationships among characters are likely to evolve through both collaborative successes and moral or strategic disagreements, creating a living, breathing narrative ecosystem that extends beyond the spectacle of battle. Dr. Doom's manipulative prowess extends to shaping these interpersonal dynamics. By exploiting psychological weaknesses, testing moral convictions, and orchestrating strategic traps, Doom challenges the heroes to navigate both external and internal conflicts simultaneously. This approach ensures that the narrative tension is sustained across multiple levels, balancing spectacle with cognitive and emotional engagement. The heroes' responses to these challenges are expected to reveal growth, adaptability, and the consequences of ethical decision-making under pressure. In this way, Doom serves as both antagonist and narrative catalyst, propelling character development while escalating plot stakes. Music and sound design in Avengers Doomsday are anticipated to reinforce these character arcs and narrative developments. Distinct musical themes may accompany individual factions, enhancing the audience's recognition of character presence and emotional stakes. For example, the arrival of Dr. Doom may be underscored by a unique musical motif that signals strategic cunning and narrative weight, while heroic motifs for the Avengers, Fantastic Four, or X-Men provide emotional resonance during climactic sequences. Sound design may also emphasize the multidimensionality of battles, with layered auditory cues reflecting both physical action and the broader multiversal consequences of the conflict. Marketing strategies for Avengers Doomsday are aligned with the film's narrative and thematic complexity. By leveraging global fan engagement, teaser campaigns, convention appearances, and cross-media storytelling, Marvel Studios has cultivated anticipation while preserving narrative secrecy. The careful management of plot information, coupled with visual teases and character reveals, ensures that audiences remain invested without prematurely disclosing pivotal story developments. Merchandise and tie-ins, including collectibles, action figures, and interactive experiences, further extend the narrative universe, creating opportunities for fans to engage with the film's characters and concepts outside the cinematic experience. The climactic resolution of Avengers Doomsday is likely to involve multiple intersecting factors, strategic intelligence, collaborative heroism, ethical decision-making, and multiversal manipulation. Each faction's contributions, whether through combat, intellect, or moral guidance, are expected to be integral to the narrative outcome. By resolving the conflict through both spectacle and character-driven choices, the film reinforces Marvel's commitment to layered storytelling, demonstrating that heroism encompasses both physical prowess and ethical integrity. This integrated approach ensures that the film resonates emotionally, intellectually, and visually, providing audiences with a narrative experience that is both satisfying and thought-provoking. Finally, Avengers Doomsday is positioned as a transformative entry in the MCU, integrating multiple franchises, character legacies, and multiversal concepts into a unified narrative. Its exploration of individual arcs, interpersonal dynamics, and ethical dilemmas, set against the backdrop of cosmic and multiversal threats, exemplifies Marvel's ongoing commitment to character-driven storytelling within a blockbuster framework. By balancing spectacle with depth, the film is poised to redefine audience expectations for ensemble superhero films, leaving an indelible mark on both the MCU and the broader cinematic landscape. Avengers Doomsday represents the culmination of years of meticulous planning, storytelling, and universe building within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, a franchise that has, since its inception, redefined what blockbuster cinema can achieve in terms of interconnected narratives, character development, and large-scale visual storytelling. Produced by Marvel Studios, the film is a testament to both creative ambition and logistical excellence, reflecting the studio's commitment to pushing the boundaries of superhero storytelling. Unlike its predecessors, which focused largely on single-universe threats or contained team dynamics, Doomsday is conceived as a multiversal event of unprecedented scale, bringing together disparate factions of heroes, from the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men to newly introduced characters and legacy heroes, in a battle that transcends space, time, and reality itself. The film's development was informed by the ongoing success of previous multiverse-related projects, which demonstrated the audience's appetite for complex narrative structures, morally nuanced conflicts, and crossover events that reward long-term engagement with the franchise. The conceptualization of Doomsday began in earnest following the events of Phase 4, particularly after projects such as Thunderbolts, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness demonstrated both the narrative potential and audience enthusiasm for multiverse-based storylines. Initially, Marvel explored various directions involving Kang the Conqueror, whose manipulation of time and reality posed challenges both to the MCU's continuity and to the narrative coherence of upcoming films. However, the creative team eventually recognized that Doctor Doom offered a unique opportunity to not only threaten the physical existence of multiple realities but also to engage with the narrative and thematic complexities of power, ideology, and morality. Doom, as conceived for this film, is not merely a villain motivated by ego or vengeance. He is a character driven by a philosophy of authoritarian order, seeking to impose his vision of perfection across the multiverse. His mastery of both science and magic allows him to manipulate events on multiple levels simultaneously, making him a threat that is intellectual, ideological, and existential. This depth allows the narrative to explore profound questions about the ethics of leadership, the consequences of unchecked power, and the responsibilities inherent in the ability to shape reality itself. The directors, Anthony and Joe Russo, bring to the project their unparalleled experience in handling large ensemble casts and complex storylines, as evidenced by their work on Avengers, Infinity War and Endgame. Their approach to Doomsday emphasizes the balance between large-scale spectacle and intimate character moments, ensuring that each member of the sprawling cast is given narrative significance. The Russo brothers' signature ability to interweave multiple plot threads, manage ensemble dynamics, and build suspenseful, emotionally resonant arcs is critical for a film of this magnitude, where dozens of heroes from multiple universes must interact coherently while confronting a villain of Doom's caliber. The writing team collaborated extensively with Marvel Studios story architects to ensure that Doomsday would function not only as a narrative climax but also as a connective tissue linking previous MCU phases to future projects, including the highly anticipated Avengers, Secret Wars. This dual role, as both culmination and launchpad, underscores the strategic ambition behind the film and its place within the overarching MCU framework. Set approximately 14 months after the events of Thunderbolts, Avengers, Doomsday presents a world that is both familiar and precarious. While some semblance of multiversal stability has been established following previous interventions, the residual fractures in reality provide fertile ground for Doom's ambitions. Dr. Doom, portrayed by Robert Downey Jr., is depicted as a complex antagonist whose intelligence rivals that of any hero, whose strategic acumen allows him to manipulate events on multiple fronts simultaneously, and whose ideology challenges the moral assumptions of the heroes themselves. Unlike villains who act out of desire for personal power alone, Doom's motivations are deeply philosophical. He believes that only his vision of order can correct the inherent flaws of the multiverse. This characterization allows the narrative to explore not only the physical stakes of the conflict but also its ethical dimensions, presenting the audience with a villain whose threat is as conceptual as it is tangible. Doom's actions catalyze a crisis that forces heroes from different realities to confront questions of autonomy, collective responsibility, and the ethical implications of wielding extraordinary power. The film's ensemble cast reflects the scope and ambition of its multiversal narrative. Chris Hemsworth returns as Thor, whose journey from brash god of thunder to seasoned leader is central to the story's exploration of growth, accountability, and resilience. Anthony Mackie assumes the mantle of Captain America as Sam Wilson, providing a lens through which the narrative examines legacy, moral leadership, and the evolution of heroism. Letitia Wright reprises her role as Shuri, integrating Wakandan technological sophistication and cultural depth into the multiverse-spanning conflict. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man and Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier provide continuity and serve as narrative bridges between past Avengers storylines and the film's current multiversal stakes. The inclusion of the Fantastic Four, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Backrack as Ben Grimm, introduces both familial dynamics and distinct approaches to heroism, emphasizing collaboration, trust, and the balance between personal relationships and global responsibilities. Each member of this ensemble contributes unique abilities, perspectives, and emotional resonance, allowing the film to explore the interplay between individuality and collective action on a scale unprecedented in the MCU. Significantly, Avengers, Doomsday integrates the X-Men into the cinematic universe on a major scale, marking a milestone in Marvel's narrative unification strategy. Patrick Stewart reprises his iconic role as Professor X, serving as the ethical and intellectual anchor of the mutant faction, while Ian McKellen returns as Magneto, whose complex ideology and historical antagonism with Professor X add layers of moral and philosophical tension. Rebecca Romijn as Mystique, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, James Marsden as Cyclops, and Channing Tatum as Gambit complete the roster, each bringing distinct abilities, histories, and narrative stakes. This integration allows the film to examine the challenges of aligning heroes with divergent moral codes, cultural backgrounds, and historical conflicts, highlighting both the strategic and interpersonal complexities of assembling a multiversal coalition. The X-Men's presence also allows the narrative to explore themes of identity, prejudice, and the ethical use of power, adding depth to the film's broader examination of multiversal responsibility. Narratively, Avengers, Doomsday is structured to interweave multiple plotlines while maintaining coherence and emotional resonance. The film explores the tension between different factions of heroes, each accustomed to operating within their own frameworks of authority, ethics, and strategy. The Avengers, experienced in collaborative leadership, must adapt to the inclusion of the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, negotiating differences in approach, philosophy, and methodology. Dr. Doom exacerbates these tensions, forcing the heroes to confront internal divisions, question assumptions, and innovate strategies that extend beyond conventional combat. The film's narrative design emphasizes that victories cannot be achieved through force alone. Intellectual acuity, moral clarity, and coordinated action are essential to overcoming the existential threat posed by Doom. This structure allows the story to balance large-scale spectacle with intimate character moments, ensuring that personal arcs are as compelling as the overarching conflict. From a production perspective, Avengers, Doomsday is notable for its combination of practical set design and advanced visual effects. Approximately 80% of interior sets were constructed physically, allowing actors to interact with tangible environments and enhancing performance authenticity. These sets were complemented by state-of-the-art visual effects, enabling the depiction of multiversal distortions, temporal anomalies, and large-scale battles that span multiple realities. Filming took place primarily at Pinewood Studios in England between April and September 2025, with multiple units capturing simultaneous storylines, large ensemble sequences, and complex action scenes. Post-production involved meticulous integration of visual effects, sound design, editing, and musical scoring, all aimed at maintaining narrative coherence despite the complexity of the film structure. The Russo brothers emphasized the importance of practical sets for enhancing actor performance, particularly in sequences involving high emotional stakes or intricate choreography. Marketing for Avengers Doomsday has been strategically managed to maximize anticipation while protecting plot integrity. The initial cast announcement live stream in March 2025 revealed the scope of the ensemble without divulging key narrative details. Promotional images, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and selective teaser content have fueled fan speculation regarding character alliances, potential betrayals, and multiversal mechanics. Social media engagement, convention appearances, and targeted fan events have amplified interest, ensuring that audience expectations are both informed and suspenseful. This careful pacing of marketing content reflects Marvel's understanding of fan psychology, balancing curiosity, speculation, and excitement to heighten engagement ahead of the December 2026 release. Avengers Doomsday's scheduled release on December 18, 2026, positions it strategically to capitalize on the holiday season and maximize global audience turnout. As part of Phase 6, the film serves both as a culmination of prior narrative arcs and a launching point for future projects, most notably Avengers: Secret Wars. This strategic placement ensures that Doomsday not only resolves ongoing storylines but also establishes momentum for subsequent films, sustaining audience engagement and reinforcing the MCU's long-term narrative continuity. The film's role as a narrative bridge underscores its importance within the franchise, highlighting Marvel's commitment to interconnected, forward-thinking storytelling. Thematically, Avengers Doomsday explores the complexities of power, responsibility, and ethical decision-making. Dr. Doom's ideological rigor challenges the heroes not only in battle but in philosophy, forcing characters to evaluate the consequences of their actions on a multiversal scale. The convergence of multiple superhero factions provides a narrative laboratory for examining ethical conflicts, divergent leadership styles, and the interplay between personal morality and collective responsibility. Characters confront fear, doubt, and the psychological toll of wielding power capable of shaping realities, creating a rich emotional landscape that complements the film's epic spectacle. The narrative further explores themes of unity, sacrifice, and resilience, emphasizing that true heroism is measured not solely in victory but in the courage to confront ethical dilemmas and uphold principles amidst uncertainty. Visually, the film promises to redefine superhero cinematography. Battle sequences reportedly involve collapsing realities, interdimensional rifts, and simultaneous combat across multiple planes of existence. Each hero's abilities are depicted with fidelity to comic book source material, ensuring that their powers are not only visually spectacular but narratively meaningful. Choreography integrates individual combat styles, environmental interactions, and team strategies, emphasizing clarity, tension, and emotional resonance. These sequences are designed to highlight both the narrative stakes and the psychological dimensions of conflict, ensuring that spectacle and storytelling are inseparable. The integration of previously separate Marvel properties, such as the X-Men and Fantastic Four, marks a transformative moment for the franchise. This convergence creates opportunities for new character dynamics, alliances, and conflicts while expanding the MCU's thematic and narrative palette. The multiverse framework allows for exploration of identity, culture, and philosophy, emphasizing collaboration, ethical decision-making, and the consequences of individual and collective action. By uniting these disparate factions, Avengers Doomsday demonstrates Marvel's ability to synthesize complex storylines into a coherent, emotionally impactful, and visually stunning narrative. Fan anticipation for the film has been amplified by speculation regarding cameo appearances, potential character deaths, and multiverse ramifications. The inclusion of legacy actors alongside new cast members encourages cross-generational engagement and provides opportunities to resolve long-standing narrative threads while introducing new arcs. Speculation regarding the fates of characters, the resolution of ideological conflicts, and the ultimate outcome of Doom's schemes has generated extensive discussion on forums, social media, and fan sites, contributing to the cultural impact of the film even prior to its release. In conclusion, Avengers Doomsday represents the apex of Marvel Cinematic Universe storytelling, combining a sprawling ensemble cast, complex multiverse narrative, thematic depth, and groundbreaking visual effects into a singular cinematic experience. Its integration of legacy characters, new heroes, and previously separate franchises ensures that it functions both as a culmination of existing narratives and a springboard for future projects. By confronting Dr. Doom's existential threat, the heroes explore questions of power, morality, collaboration, and sacrifice on a scale unparalleled in the history of superhero cinema. The production, marketing, and narrative strategies reflect Marvel's commitment to delivering an emotionally resonant, visually spectacular, and thematically rich film, positioning Avengers Doomsday as a transformative entry that will influence both audience expectations and the trajectory of the MCU for years to come. The December 2026 release promises not merely a blockbuster event but a cultural milestone, a celebration of the enduring power of storytelling, and a testament to the creative vision that has made the Marvel Cinematic Universe a global phenomenon. One of the defining aspects of Avengers Doomsday is its unprecedented cast integration, combining legacy characters with new entrants to the MCU in a narrative tapestry that spans multiple cinematic franchises. Chris Hemsworth reprising his role as Thor brings a stabilizing presence from the earlier phases of the MCU, grounding the film in familiar heroic archetypes. Thor's journey has evolved from brash Asgardian warrior to a reflective and strategically minded hero capable of leading vast coalitions. His interactions with other legacy heroes, such as Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson as Captain America, promise to explore themes of leadership transition, generational shifts in heroism, and the burden of legacy. Sam Wilson, having assumed the mantle of Captain America, is poised to symbolize a modernized, inclusive vision of heroism, reflecting the evolving social and political consciousness within the MCU. His dynamic with Thor, who represents tradition and mythic gravitas, is expected to offer both narrative tension and mentorship opportunities, highlighting contrasting approaches to leadership and moral decision-making. Vanessa Kirby's role as Sue Storm/Invisible Woman situates her at the center of the newly integrated Fantastic Four arc, representing the bridge between legacy Avengers and the previously separate Fantastic Four franchise. Her scientific expertise, strategic mind, and emotional intelligence provide critical narrative functions, especially when juxtaposed against the often impulsive and morally conflicted Dr. Doom. Sue Storm's relationship with Reed Richards, while not fully disclosed, is expected to explore both professional collaboration and personal stakes, creating layered character development within the broader conflict. Meanwhile, Dr. Doom, portrayed by Robert Downey Jr., is anticipated to redefine the villain archetype within the MCU. Downey's prior embodiment of Tony Stark/Iron Man brings an intriguing meta layer to the casting, potentially allowing for subtle echoes of Stark's charisma and intellect, while simultaneously subverting audience expectations through Doom's authoritarian and manipulative tendencies. This duality may serve as a thematic exploration of power, morality, and the thin line separating heroism from tyranny. The inclusion of Paul Rudd's Ant-Man introduces both narrative levity and crucial plot mechanics, given the character's expertise in quantum manipulation, which may be central to any multiverse-related conflicts or temporal interventions within the story. Simu Liu's Shang-Chi is expected to contribute both martial arts prowess and cultural narrative richness, anchoring the film's global perspective while also reinforcing the MCU's commitment to diverse storytelling. Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, returning from prior solo narratives, may act as a wild card in the story, her morally flexible nature and tactical skills adding unpredictability to the ensemble's strategies. The ensemble cast also includes characters like Sebastian Stan, Paul Bettany, Letitia Wright, and other MCU veterans whose roles, while not yet fully detailed, will likely function as both narrative support and as catalysts for character-driven subplots, interweaving personal arcs with the film's larger existential stakes. From a structural perspective, the film is anticipated to follow a multi-threaded narrative architecture, balancing multiple concurrent storylines. These threads may include the Avengers' core mission to counter Doctor Doom, the Fantastic Four's integration into the broader conflict, the X-Men's political and moral negotiations in light of Doom's threat, and various secondary character arcs that explore themes of loyalty, betrayal, and personal growth. This narrative complexity requires careful scripting to maintain cohesion, pacing, and clarity. Sources indicate that Michael Waldron and Stephen McFeely are actively refining these storylines, ensuring that each character's arc receives meaningful attention while advancing the central plot. The writers are reportedly collaborating closely with Marvel Studios' creative leadership, including Kevin Feige, to maintain continuity with prior MCU entries and to foreshadow future projects, particularly given Phase 6's strategic positioning as a culmination of multiple franchise integrations. Thematically, Avengers: Doomsday is expected to interrogate the ethical and philosophical dimensions of power. Dr. Doom's motivations are likely to challenge conventional heroic paradigms, offering a villain whose rationale may appear morally coherent, even sympathetic, in contrast to the Avengers' often unilateral approach to conflict resolution. Such thematic depth aligns with Marvel's recent narrative trajectory, which increasingly emphasizes moral ambiguity, the consequences of unchecked power, and the psychological burdens of heroism. By positioning Doom not merely as an antagonist to be defeated but as a complex figure whose actions provoke reflection, the film may achieve narrative resonance that transcends conventional blockbuster storytelling, offering audiences opportunities for engagement on intellectual and emotional levels. Production design is another area in which Avengers: Doomsday is pushing boundaries. The decision to construct approximately 80% of interior sets physically, rather than relying entirely on digital effects, is indicative of a broader commitment to tactile realism. This approach allows actors to inhabit fully realized environments, fostering organic performances and enabling dynamic cinematography. It also facilitates intricate staging of action sequences, which are expected to be among the most ambitious in MCU history, involving large-scale set pieces, complex choreography, and multi-character interactions that must be seamlessly integrated with visual effects. Reports suggest that the filmmakers are employing a hybrid approach, blending practical stunts with advanced CGI and motion capture to create an immersive cinematic experience that is both visually spectacular and narratively coherent. In terms of cinematography, Avengers: Doomsday is expected to utilize advanced techniques, including high-resolution IMAX cameras, extensive aerial and drone shots, and innovative lighting strategies to capture the film's epic scale. Costume design continues Marvel's tradition of blending aesthetic fidelity to comic book origins with practical functionality suitable for live-action performance. Each character's costume is being carefully crafted to reflect their narrative arc, personality traits, and alignment within the broader conflict. For instance, Doom's armor may combine historical references to his comic book appearances with contemporary design sensibilities, reflecting both his authoritarian presence and technological sophistication. The ensemble nature of Avengers: Doomsday allows for a detailed exploration of individual characters' histories and contributions to the narrative, each bringing unique skills, perspectives, and personal stakes. Chris Hemsworth returns as Thor, the God of Thunder, whose journey across the MCU has transitioned from brash warrior to introspective hero, balancing divine responsibility with mortal connections. Thor's role in Doomsday is expected to leverage both his immense physical strength and his experience as a unifying force among heroes, offering guidance and tactical leadership. Anthony Mackie reprises his role as Sam Wilson, the new Captain America, embodying the values of legacy, justice, and inclusivity. Mackie's portrayal emphasizes moral clarity and resilience, traits likely to be tested in multiverse-scale conflicts against Dr. Doom's sophisticated schemes. Sebastian Stan, whose history as Bucky Barnes/Winter Soldier provides a complex moral and emotional backdrop, is anticipated to play a pivotal role in navigating alliances that are both fragile and strategic, balancing loyalty to the Avengers with the necessity of cooperation across new factions. Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, Scott Lang, contributes not only technological versatility but also narrative levity, offering moments of humor and human perspective amid large-scale destruction, while simultaneously playing a strategic role in navigating dimensional complexities that the story implies. Simu Liu's Shang-Chi presence adds martial arts mastery and thematic depth, emphasizing the need for discipline, cultural heritage, and moral grounding in the face of universe-threatening chaos. Florence Pugh and Letitia Wright, both rising MCU veterans, provide narrative tension and intellectual contributions. Pugh's Yelena Belova or related characters bring strategic cunning, while Wright's Shuri embodies Wakandan innovation and technological sophistication. Vanessa Kirby's role, while not fully confirmed, is likely tied to the Fantastic Four, offering leadership, tactical insight, and the ability to bridge different hero groups, highlighting Marvel Studios' careful weaving of formerly separate franchises into a cohesive narrative tapestry. Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom is the centerpiece of the film's narrative tension, representing a villain who is both intellectually formidable and morally ambiguous. Doom's abilities, a combination of advanced scientific knowledge, mystical capability, and political acumen, make him a universal threat, one capable of challenging heroes individually and collectively. By casting Downey Jr., Marvel not only leverages nostalgia but also allows audiences to see the actor in a radically different light, heightening the psychological tension. Doom's presence forces the heroes to confront their limitations, question alliances, and reconsider strategic approaches, creating narrative stakes that go beyond mere physical confrontation. The inclusion of X-Men characters marks a significant milestone in MCU continuity, reflecting Marvel Studios' consolidation of previously separated franchises. These characters, while details are limited, are expected to bring additional powers, narrative arcs, and audience appeal, further complicating the dynamics of alliances and conflicts. The integration of mutants provides opportunities for both fan service and narrative expansion, allowing Marvel to explore inter-franchise relationships while maintaining character integrity and thematic resonance. The Fantastic Four, similarly, introduce elements of cosmic understanding, scientific expertise, and family dynamics, contributing both to plot strategy and emotional depth, particularly in interactions with the Avengers and X-Men teams. From a production standpoint, the film's technical achievements are noteworthy. Practical set construction dominates interior environments, ensuring a sense of realism in hero interactions and battle choreography. Location shoots in the UK provide a versatile backdrop that blends historical architecture with futuristic settings, while sequences in Bahrain contribute exotic and cinematic landscapes necessary for multiversal or global-scale scenes. Visual effects teams are tasked with integrating CGI seamlessly with these practical environments, particularly for sequences involving Dr. Doom's advanced technology, interdimensional anomalies, and large-scale battles. Motion capture and performance capture techniques have been employed to translate complex physical performances into detailed digital representations, maintaining fidelity to actor expressions and movements. Costume design carefully balances distinct visual identities from multiple franchises, ensuring coherence while honoring legacy aesthetics, such as the iconic red and gold tones of Doom's armor or the distinct silhouettes of X-Men uniforms. Alan Silvestri's score is expected to underscore both the film's epic scale and emotional resonance. The music employs leitmotifs associated with individual characters and groups, weaving them into orchestral arrangements that highlight dramatic tension, heroism, and the stakes of multiversal conflict. Sound design, from ambient environment to battle effects, complements the visuals and enhances immersion, ensuring that audiences perceive both the grandeur and the intimacy of pivotal scenes. Every audiovisual element has been designed to serve the narrative, whether reinforcing thematic motifs or emphasizing the consequences of character decisions. The marketing and promotional strategy has been structured to maintain suspense and engagement while capitalizing on high-profile casting and cross-franchise integration. Social media campaigns, official Marvel announcements, and controlled behind-the-scenes releases generate excitement and speculation, positioning the film as both a continuation of long-standing storylines and a fresh entry point for new audiences. The strategic placement of teasers and production announcements allows Marvel to build anticipation gradually, ensuring maximum impact when the official trailer is released. By emphasizing both spectacle and character, Marvel appeals to a broad demographic while maintaining the loyalty of its established fanbase. The narrative implications of Avengers Doomsday extend across the MCU. The multiversal threat posed by Doctor Doom provides narrative justification for unprecedented alliances and sets up thematic exploration of cooperation, leadership, and moral responsibility at an interdimensional scale. The Russo brothers' directorial approach ensures that while individual character arcs receive attention, the ensemble narrative remains coherent, balancing the demands of multiple storylines and character motivations. The film also serves as a bridge to future MCU projects, particularly Avengers, Secret Wars, providing context, character development, and potential plot threads that will carry over into subsequent films. By structuring the narrative to highlight both personal stakes and universal consequences, Doomsday reinforces Marvel's broader storytelling strategy while creating a standalone cinematic experience. Post-production processes have emphasized precision and cohesion. Visual effects teams coordinate with cinematographers, stunt coordinators, and practical effects departments to ensure that sequences are seamless, believable, and narratively consistent. Editing, color grading, and sound mixing are integrated with musical scoring to maintain pacing, tension, and emotional impact. The combination of practical effects, high-end CGI, and advanced motion capture ensures that the film meets contemporary standards of blockbuster filmmaking, delivering both spectacle and narrative clarity. Cultural impact and franchise significance are expected to be considerable. The film's ability to unify multiple Marvel franchises, reintroduce iconic actors, and integrate complex storylines across the multiverse reflects a milestone in cinematic storytelling. Fan engagement has already been intense, with discussions on forums, social media, and fan platforms reflecting anticipation for character interactions, battle strategies, and narrative outcomes. The casting of Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom has sparked particular interest, highlighting the interplay of nostalgia, narrative innovation, and audience expectation. Additionally, the film's ensemble nature demonstrates Marvel Studios' commitment to blending fan-favorite characters with emerging talents, maintaining continuity while exploring fresh dynamics. In comparison to previous Avengers films, Doomsday is positioned to surpass earlier entries in both narrative complexity and technical ambition. The integration of the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and multiversal elements introduces challenges not faced in prior ensemble films, requiring careful coordination of storylines, visual effects, and character development. Whereas Infinity War and Endgame focused primarily on the Avengers and Thanos, Doomsday expands the universe both narratively and spatially, engaging a larger cast and more intricate plot threads. The film's emphasis on practical sets, detailed visual effects integration, and advanced sound design represents a continued evolution in Marvel's approach to blockbuster filmmaking, demonstrating an ongoing commitment to technical excellence. Thematic analysis highlights unity, sacrifice, ethical decision-making, and the responsibility that accompanies power. Characters are challenged not only by physical confrontation but by moral dilemmas, the necessity of cross-franchise alliances, and the consequences of their actions across multiversal scales. The film's narrative design encourages reflection on leadership, collaboration, and the strategic use of individual abilities within a team dynamic. Doctor Doom, as both an antagonist and a catalyst, forces heroes to confront limitations and adapt strategies, emphasizing problem-solving, resilience, and creative use of resources. The combination of action, character-driven moments, and narrative tension ensures that the film resonates emotionally while delivering the high-stakes spectacle expected from an MCU crossover. In Avengers Doomsday, the battles themselves are expected to be monumental, both in scale and narrative significance. Unlike previous Avengers films, which primarily focused on one main conflict or location per climactic sequence, this movie is anticipated to feature multiple, simultaneous confrontations across different environments, dimensions, and possibly timelines. The Russo brothers' previous work demonstrates a mastery of orchestrating complex action sequences with dozens of characters in motion, each exhibiting unique abilities, fighting styles, and personalities. In Infinity War, for example, battle choreography was carefully tailored to individual hero powers while maintaining an overarching narrative coherence. Doomsday takes this concept further, likely involving not only Earth-based skirmishes but also multiversal or interdimensional arenas where heroes encounter alternate versions of themselves, allies, and even enemies. These scenarios offer unique narrative and visual opportunities, allowing filmmakers to juxtapose familiar characters in unfamiliar circumstances, amplifying both the stakes and the emotional resonance. Cross-team dynamics will be particularly intriguing, as characters who have rarely interacted must now cooperate under extreme circumstances. Consider the interactions between the Avengers and the X-Men. Traditional Avengers operate with a militaristic and mission-oriented approach, while the X-Men have historically emphasized strategy rooted in mutant ethics, personal autonomy, and societal responsibility. These differing philosophies create natural tension, both narratively and thematically. For instance, Professor X, portrayed by Patrick Stewart, may advocate for restraint and negotiation, while Captain America or Thor might prioritize direct action. Similarly, Magneto, with his morally complex worldview, could challenge the Avengers' assumptions about right and wrong, raising ethical questions about intervention, power, and the consequences of failure. Such clashes are not only plot devices but also explorations of moral philosophy within the superhero genre, adding depth beyond spectacle. The Fantastic Four's integration introduces additional team dynamics. Sue Storm's force field abilities make her both a defensive linchpin and a tactical coordinator, while Ben Grimm's brute strength serves as a frontline combatant capable of holding off overwhelming forces. Their familial bond provides a counterpoint to the more formalized Avengers and X-Men interactions, highlighting themes of loyalty, interpersonal communication, and the balance between personal and collective responsibility. These dynamics are expected to drive key emotional beats, offering moments of connection and conflict that humanize the larger-than-life narrative. Dr. Doom's schemes, by contrast, provide the narrative catalyst for these complex interactions. His intellect, mastery of both technology and magic, and strategic foresight ensure that the heroes are constantly reacting to evolving threats. Unlike more conventional villains, Doom is unlikely to engage in direct confrontation immediately, instead orchestrating multi-layered plans that challenge heroes intellectually, morally, and physically. The combination of Downey's nuanced performance and Doom's rich comic book legacy is poised to create a villain who is as compelling as he is formidable, potentially rivaling Thanos in narrative significance. Doom's influence may extend across multiple realities, leveraging multiversal mechanics to place heroes in moral and existential dilemmas that test their unity and resilience. From a production standpoint, Doomsday represents one of the most technically ambitious projects in MCU history. The Russo brothers, working alongside cinematographers and production designers, have reportedly prioritized practical effects whenever possible. Physical sets allow actors to interact convincingly with their environment, enhancing performance realism, while CGI is reserved for augmenting landscapes, powers, and multiversal distortions. This hybrid approach is expected to create a seamless visual experience, where the boundaries between reality and effects are indistinguishable. Battle sequences, particularly those involving large groups of heroes or multiversal anomalies, will likely involve intricate motion capture, wirework, and digital compositing to achieve the intended scale and dynamism. Alan Silvestri's score, integrating recurring motifs for specific characters and teams, will further unify these sequences, ensuring that emotional and narrative beats are reinforced through sound design. Fan theories regarding multiverse interactions abound, given the confirmed presence of the X-Men and alternate reality characters. One prevalent theory suggests that the multiverse collapse or convergence may serve as a central conflict, with Dr. Doom exploiting these anomalies to assert dominance or reshape reality according to his vision. This could lead to alternate versions of well-known heroes confronting one another, or characters encountering morally divergent variants of themselves, providing opportunities for self-reflection and thematic exploration of identity, choice, and consequence. The multiverse may also facilitate unexpected alliances or betrayals, enhancing narrative tension and keeping audiences engaged through uncertainty and surprise. The visual design of the multiverse and associated battles is expected to be a key storytelling tool. Cinematographers and VFX teams may employ distinct color palettes, lighting schemes, and environmental effects to differentiate between realities, signaling narrative shifts and emotional stakes without relying solely on exposition. For example, dystopian versions of familiar locations may contrast sharply with more vibrant or utopian settings, reinforcing the stakes and emphasizing the consequences of failure. Production sources suggest that practical set construction extends to these alternate reality environments, ensuring tangible grounding even within fantastical contexts. Marketing and audience engagement strategies are also expected to reflect the film's unprecedented scale. Although no official trailer has been released, early promotional materials emphasize ensemble shots, large-scale battle scenes, and glimpses of the multiverse. Fan speculation has already fueled discussion regarding potential character deaths, team alliances, and post-credit sequences, consistent with Marvel's approach to sustained audience engagement. The possibility of surprise cameos, hidden characters, or narrative twists further amplifies anticipation, positioning Doomsday not only as a single film but as a pivotal narrative event within the MCU. From a thematic perspective, Doomsday explores the consequences of collaboration and the ethical challenges inherent in wielding extraordinary power. Heroes from different backgrounds, timelines, and ethical frameworks are forced to negotiate not just external threats but also internal disagreements, testing their ability to cooperate under pressure. This exploration of unity and diversity mirrors real-world challenges of leadership, decision-making, and conflict resolution, giving the film both immediate entertainment value and enduring intellectual engagement. Additionally, the narrative may explore the burden of legacy, particularly for characters who have inherited mantles or must reconcile past actions with present responsibilities. These themes resonate across the MCU, connecting long-running character arcs with emerging storylines. The release of Avengers Doomsday in December 2026 strategically positions the film as a high-profile holiday event, maximizing audience exposure and box office potential. Global distribution plans ensure simultaneous release across major markets, reinforcing the film's status as a cultural and cinematic milestone. Given the film's scale, multiple formats, including IMAX, 3D, and high frame rate presentations, are likely to be employed, offering audiences varied immersive experiences. Early projections suggest that the film may set new benchmarks for ensemble superhero storytelling, both in terms of visual spectacle and narrative complexity. Finally, the broader implications for the MCU cannot be overstated. Doomsday is positioned as a narrative nexus, bridging existing franchises, introducing new heroes, and setting up future storylines, including the sequel Avengers, Secret Wars, 2027. The film's resolution, character fates, and multiversal consequences are expected to reverberate across subsequent films, shaping Phase 6 and beyond. By integrating legacy characters, newer additions, and multiversal elements, Marvel is effectively creating a cinematic ecosystem where continuity, character development, and narrative stakes are intricately intertwined, ensuring that audience investment extends well beyond the immediate viewing experience. Avengers Doomsday represents an unprecedented level of narrative ambition in the MCU, particularly due to its exploration of multiverse mechanics and interdimensional conflict. The multiverse, introduced in previous films such as Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and the Loki series, establishes a framework in which multiple realities coexist, interact, and occasionally collide. In Avengers Doomsday, these multiversal interactions are expected to manifest in both subtle and spectacular ways, influencing character decisions, battle dynamics, and the very fabric of the narrative universe. For instance, heroes may encounter alternate versions of themselves, presenting opportunities for reflection, conflict, or mentorship. These interactions allow for dramatic tension and emotional resonance, as characters confront the consequences of choices made in parallel realities. Multiverse mechanics also provide narrative flexibility, enabling complex plot development such as timeline manipulations, reality-altering strategies, and cross-reality alliances. The anticipated battle sequences in Avengers Doomsday are likely to be some of the most intricate ever attempted in the MCU. Coordinating multiple factions, including the Avengers, the New Avengers, the Fantastic Four, and the X-Men, requires meticulous planning in choreography, visual effects, and narrative pacing. Each hero brings unique abilities that must be showcased effectively while maintaining narrative clarity. For example, Thor's godly powers may dominate large-scale confrontations, whereas Reed Richards' scientific ingenuity may provide strategic solutions to challenges that cannot be overcome through brute force. Similarly, the X-Men's diverse mutant abilities allow for creative tactical engagements, ranging from psychic manipulation to elemental control. The interplay of these powers within multiversal settings is expected to create visually stunning and strategically complex sequences, demanding seamless integration of CGI, practical effects, and actor performances. The supporting cast in Avengers Doomsday is as critical to narrative cohesion as the lead ensemble. Characters such as Letitia Wright's Shuri, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, Vanessa Kirby's Julia Carpenter, and Joseph Quinn's Eros are expected to provide complementary storylines, assisting with both tactical operations and narrative exposition. These supporting roles allow for richer interactions among factions and provide opportunities to explore secondary character arcs in meaningful ways. In particular, their involvement helps to balance screen time across the massive ensemble, ensuring that each character's contribution, whether in combat, strategy, or moral guidance, is recognized and impactful. Cameo appearances from past MCU characters are also rumored, offering moments of nostalgia and continuity that reward longtime viewers while integrating seamlessly into the larger narrative. From a production standpoint, Avengers Doomsday represents one of the most complex undertakings in cinematic history. The Russo brothers have reportedly coordinated a vast team of visual effects artists, stunt coordinators, production designers, and costume specialists to manage the logistical challenges of an ensemble cast spanning multiple franchises. The integration of practical effects with CGI was a key consideration. Reports indicate that approximately 80% of interior set backdrops were constructed physically, ensuring a tangible environment for actors while minimizing reliance on digital replacement. Locations in England and Bahrain were chosen for both aesthetic and logistical reasons, providing versatile landscapes suitable for multiversal set pieces and large-scale battles. Post-production timelines are expected to be extensive, reflecting the complexity of visual effects, compositing, and sound design required to achieve narrative and visual coherence. Multiverse mechanics also introduce narrative challenges in continuity and coherence. By introducing alternate versions of characters and divergent timelines, the film must navigate potential paradoxes and maintain internal logic. The Russo brothers have reportedly employed narrative devices such as selective focus, parallel storytelling, and convergent climaxes to manage these complexities. For example, one scene may follow a faction operating in an alternate reality, while another simultaneously portrays the consequences of their actions in the primary timeline. These parallel threads converge at key narrative junctures, ensuring that the story remains intelligible while maximizing dramatic tension and spectacle. The film's production design emphasizes both visual fidelity to source material and practicality for live-action performance. Costume design, in particular, has been highlighted for its blend of comic book accuracy with functional mobility. Characters such as Dr. Doom, with his iconic armored aesthetic, required innovative materials and construction techniques to allow for motion capture and stunt work while maintaining visual impact. Similarly, costumes for the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and New Avengers were designed to reflect both individual powers and team identities, reinforcing narrative cohesion through visual storytelling. Lighting, set design, and color grading also play key roles in differentiating multiversal realities, helping audiences navigate complex narrative spaces and understand the stakes of each sequence. The multiverse also affects narrative pacing and tension. By presenting simultaneous threats across different realities, Avengers Doomsday creates a layered sense of urgency, emphasizing that failure in one timeline may have catastrophic consequences in another. These stakes heighten both dramatic tension and emotional investment, as audiences track multiple outcomes and character arcs. The Russo brothers have reportedly used advanced editing techniques to weave these threads together, balancing moments of character introspection with large-scale action and spectacle. In doing so, the film maintains narrative clarity without sacrificing the scale and complexity that define its ambition. Doctor Doom's role in orchestrating multiversal conflict extends beyond direct confrontation. He is expected to manipulate timelines, set traps, and exploit vulnerabilities across realities, effectively forcing the heroes to adapt continuously. This approach elevates Doom from a conventional villain to a narrative architect, challenging not only the physical capabilities of the heroes but also their strategic thinking, ethical judgment, and collaborative problem-solving. The resulting tension between factions, strategies, and moral frameworks adds richness to the narrative, ensuring that both spectacle and character development are intertwined. Marketing strategies have been tailored to reflect the film's multiversal and ensemble nature. Teaser campaigns, interactive online experiences, and convention showcases aim to provide glimpses into character dynamics, multiverse settings, and potential plot twists without revealing critical story beats. Merchandise tie-ins, such as action figures, collectibles, and apparel, reinforce audience engagement while reflecting the visual and thematic identity of the film. The strategic management of plot information ensures that anticipation remains high while preserving the narrative surprises that will define the cinematic experience. Sound design and musical scoring further reinforce the multiversal and thematic scope of Avengers Doomsday. Distinct musical leitmotifs for each hero faction, combined with sound cues for interdimensional travel, magical effects, and technological phenomena, create an immersive auditory experience that enhances narrative comprehension. Music is also expected to underscore emotional and moral beats, signaling character growth, thematic resolution, or impending narrative tension. This auditory layering complements the visual spectacle, ensuring that audiences experience both narrative depth and sensory engagement. Finally, Avengers Doomsday is poised to redefine audience expectations for ensemble superhero films. By integrating multiple franchises, exploring multiversal mechanics, and balancing spectacle with deep character arcs, the film exemplifies the maturation of the MCU into a narrative ecosystem capable of handling complex, layered storytelling. Its ambitious scale, combined with attention to character development, thematic resonance, and production innovation, positions the film as a transformative cinematic event, one that not only entertains but also challenges audiences to consider the ethical, philosophical, and personal implications of heroism across time, space, and reality. Avengers Doomsday is the most ambitious undertaking in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, representing a convergence of storylines, characters, and universes that has been meticulously planned over more than a decade. Produced by Marvel Studios, the film is not merely a continuation of the Avengers saga but a deliberate attempt to redefine superhero cinema. The concept for Doomsday arose from Marvel's strategy to explore the multiverse, integrate previously separate franchises like the X-Men and Fantastic Four, and deliver a cinematic experience that combines narrative complexity, thematic depth, and visual grandeur. Unlike previous Avengers films, which focused largely on single-universe threats or contained team dynamics, Doomsday expands the narrative to a multiversal scale, requiring heroes from different realities to confront not only physical threats but also moral and philosophical challenges that question the very nature of heroism. The film's inception can be traced to post-Phase 4 planning, particularly following projects like Thunderbolts, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which revealed both audience appetite and narrative potential for multiverse storylines. Initially, Marvel explored plots involving Kong the Conqueror, whose manipulation of time and reality presented significant continuity challenges, but the creative team recognized that Doctor Doom offered a unique opportunity to craft a villain whose threat was both existential and ideological. Doom's mastery of science and magic allows him to manipulate events across multiple realities, making him a threat that operates simultaneously on intellectual, philosophical, and physical levels. Unlike typical villains motivated by ego or revenge, Doom seeks to impose a vision of absolute order, believing that only he can correct the perceived flaws of the multiverse. This ideological foundation elevates him beyond a traditional antagonist, allowing the narrative to explore the ethical and moral dimensions of power, control, and responsibility. The Russo brothers, Anthony and Joe, were chosen to direct Doomsday due to their unparalleled experience in managing large ensemble casts and complex narratives in Infinity War and Endgame. Their approach emphasizes balance between spectacle and intimate character development, ensuring that each hero, from established Avengers to new arrivals, has narrative significance. The Russo brothers coordinated closely with Marvel Studios' story architects to maintain coherence across the multiverse-spanning plot while preserving opportunities for character growth, thematic exploration, and emotional resonance. Doomsday was designed not only to conclude story arcs established in previous films but also to serve as a bridge to future MCU projects, particularly Avengers: Secret Wars, positioning it as both a culmination and a springboard. Set approximately 14 months after Thunderbolts, the film depicts a multiverse that is both fragile and teeming with anomalies. Residual fractures in reality, caused by previous interventions, provide opportunities for Doom to exploit. Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Dr. Doom emphasizes his strategic brilliance, intellectual dominance, and ideological conviction. He is a villain whose danger is conceptual as well as physical. His plan involves reshaping reality itself to align with his vision, a task that threatens entire worlds and timelines. Doom's characterization as an antagonist who believes in the righteousness of his actions allows the narrative to explore themes of moral ambiguity, the consequences of absolute power, and the ethical responsibilities of those capable of shaping reality. The film's ensemble cast underscores its narrative ambition. Chris Hemsworth returns as Thor, whose evolution from brash warrior to thoughtful leader mirrors the film's thematic emphasis on growth and responsibility. Anthony Mackie embodies Sam Wilson as Captain America, providing a fresh perspective on leadership and heroism while navigating the weight of legacy. Letitia Wright's Shuri brings technological ingenuity and Wakandan cultural depth, linking localized heroism with multiversal stakes. Paul Rudd as Ant-Man and Sebastian Stan as the Winter Soldier maintain continuity, bridging past Avengers storylines with the film's complex multiversal threats. The inclusion of the Fantastic Four, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, and Eben Moss-Backrack as Ben Grimm, introduces new family dynamics and approaches to heroism, emphasizing collaboration, trust, and the balance between personal relationships and global responsibilities. Each hero's abilities, motivations, and histories contribute to a narrative that is as character-driven as it is spectacular. The integration of the X-Men marks a pivotal moment in MCU storytelling. Patrick Stewart returns as Professor X, serving as a moral and intellectual anchor, while Ian McKellen's Magneto introduces ideological tension and historical complexity. Rebecca Romaine as Mystique, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, James Marsden as Cyclops, and Channing Tatum as Gambit provide both narrative depth and opportunities for dynamic inter-team interactions. The X-Men bring not only unique powers but also histories of prejudice, ideological struggle, and leadership challenges, creating tension and narrative richness. Their presence allows the film to explore collaboration between factions with differing moral codes and strategic priorities, highlighting themes of unity, compromise, and collective responsibility in the face of existential threats. Narratively, Doomsday is structured to interweave multiple plotlines while maintaining coherence. The central tension arises from the need to unify heroes accustomed to independent operation. The Avengers must navigate ideological, methodological, and personality differences with the Fantastic Four and mutants, creating interpersonal and strategic conflict. Doom exacerbates these tensions, forcing heroes to innovate, adapt, and reconcile differences to achieve victory. The narrative emphasizes that brute force alone is insufficient, intellectual acuity, moral judgment, and teamwork are required to overcome the existential threat, allowing the story to balance epic spectacle with nuanced character development. From a production standpoint, Avengers: Doomsday is a technical marvel. Approximately 80% of interior sets were physically constructed, allowing actors to interact with tangible environments, enhancing performance authenticity. These sets were complemented by advanced visual effects, enabling realistic depictions of multiversal rifts, collapsing realities, and simultaneous battles across multiple planes of existence. Filming occurred primarily at Pinewood Studios in England between April and September 2025, with multiple units capturing concurrent storylines, ensemble sequences, and complex action choreography. Post-production involved meticulous integration of CGI, sound design, musical scoring, and editing to maintain narrative coherence. The Russo brothers emphasized the importance of practical sets to preserve performance integrity, particularly in scenes of high emotional or tactical complexity. Marketing has been carefully paced to maximize anticipation while protecting narrative surprises. The March 2025 cast announcement livestream showcased the ensemble scope without revealing plot details. Promotional images, behind-the-scenes glimpses, and selective teaser content fueled fan speculation about alliances, betrayals, and multiversal mechanics. Social media engagement, convention appearances, and fan events amplified interest, demonstrating Marvel's mastery of fan engagement and strategic marketing to heighten anticipation for a December 2026 release. The film's scheduled December 18, 2026 release strategically positions it for the holiday season and global audience engagement. As part of Phase 6, Doomsday functions both as a narrative culmination and a narrative bridge, linking prior story arcs to future projects, most notably Avengers: Secret Wars. Its release timing ensures both immediate box office impact and sustained narrative continuity, reinforcing Marvel's interconnected storytelling framework. Thematically, Avengers: Doomsday interrogates the complexities of power, responsibility, and moral ambiguity. Doom challenges heroes not only in combat but ideologically, forcing characters to evaluate the consequences of their actions on multiple realities. The convergence of diverse hero factions facilitates exploration of ethical conflicts, divergent leadership styles, and the tension between personal morality and collective responsibility. Characters confront fear, doubt, and the psychological toll of wielding multiverse-altering power, creating an emotional depth that complements the narrative spectacle. Themes of unity, sacrifice, resilience, and ethical decision-making permeate the story, emphasizing that true heroism entails both courage and moral clarity. Visually, the film is designed to be a landmark achievement. Battle sequences reportedly involve multiversal collapse, interdimensional combat, and simultaneous action across multiple realities. Each hero's powers are depicted with fidelity to source material, ensuring narrative significance and visual clarity. Choreography integrates combat styles, environmental factors, and strategic interactions, emphasizing both tension and spectacle. Visual effects serve the narrative, illustrating consequences, character stakes, and the psychological weight of the multiversal conflict. Avengers: Doomsday represents a transformative integration of previously separate Marvel properties, allowing narrative expansion, thematic depth, and creative opportunities. The multiverse framework provides a platform to explore identity, collaboration, and ethical responsibility, highlighting the consequences of both individual and collective action. The convergence of heroes illustrates how cooperation, compromise, and moral reflection are essential to overcoming existential threats. The film's narrative also includes detailed hero-centric arcs. Thor's arc explores the evolution from impulsive warrior to strategic leader, confronting both personal failings and leadership responsibilities. Sam Wilson's journey as Captain America examines legacy, morality, and innovation in heroism, contrasting with the ideals of Steve Rogers while navigating multiversal complexities. Shuri's technological expertise and strategic insights bridge human ingenuity with multiversal realities. Ant-Man's humor and inventive problem-solving provide tactical solutions to complex scenarios, while the Winter Soldier's moral ambiguity and past trauma add emotional gravitas. The Fantastic Four's familial dynamics underscore themes of trust, teamwork, and interdependence. X-Men characters grapple with identity, ethics, and the reconciliation of historical conflicts, enriching the narrative with ideological depth. Scene-by-scene speculation suggests that the film opens with multiverse anomalies causing dislocations in key realities, prompting investigation by both Avengers and X-Men factions. Early confrontations with Doom's forces reveal his strategic genius, forcing heroes to adapt tactics across multiple dimensions. Key battles likely occur simultaneously in different realities, with heroes separated and regrouping, testing alliances and leadership structures. Dramatic personal confrontations, such as Magneto vs. Professor X, Thor vs. Doom, and Sam Wilson confronting ideological questions about legacy, anchor the narrative amidst epic spectacle. Doom's multiverse manipulation escalates stakes, culminating in a climactic confrontation that challenges heroes physically, morally, and intellectually, emphasizing the film's central themes. Production design reflects these narrative complexities. Costumes integrate legacy elements with multiversal adaptations, reflecting each character's journey and universe-specific variations. Sets and visual effects depict interdimensional rifts, temporal distortions, and collapsed realities with unprecedented fidelity. The soundtrack, likely combining motifs from previous MCU scores, underscores narrative tension, heroism, and emotional arcs. Fan theories suggest possible cameos, multiversal variants, and the resolution of long-standing narrative arcs. Speculation about character deaths, alliances, and ideological reconciliations contributes to pre-release discourse, highlighting the film's cultural impact even prior to release. In conclusion, Avengers Doomsday is positioned as the apex of MCU storytelling, integrating a sprawling cast, multiverse-spanning narrative, thematic depth, and groundbreaking production into a single cinematic experience. By confronting Doctor Doom's existential threat, the heroes explore questions of power, morality, collaboration, and sacrifice on an unprecedented scale. The integration of legacy and new characters ensures both narrative cohesion and expansive creative potential, positioning the film as both a culmination of existing arcs and a springboard for future storytelling. Its December 2026 release promises not merely a blockbuster but a cultural milestone, a celebration of the enduring power of storytelling, and a testament to Marvel's vision. Avengers Doomsday is destined to leave a lasting impact on audiences, critics, and the trajectory of the MCU, redefining expectations for superhero cinema and setting a new benchmark for epic, character-driven multiversal storytelling. Building on the expansive character framework, Avengers Doomsday is expected to weave a narrative that oscillates between intimate character moments and grand-scale conflicts, presenting multiple parallel storylines that converge toward an apocalyptic climax. The plot begins, presumably, with the Avengers and their allies dealing with the aftermath of prior Phase 6 events. These initial sequences are likely to establish the stakes, showing the broader MCU universe's vulnerability to Doctor Doom's machinations. While official details remain under wraps, credible sources indicate that Doom's threat is not merely physical but also strategic, involving a combination of technological genius, mystical artifacts, and political manipulation that destabilizes multiple territories across the MCU. The Fantastic Four are anticipated to play a pivotal role in decoding Doom's plans. Reed Richards, or Mr. Fantastic, is expected to employ his unparalleled intellect and mastery over scientific and quantum principles to counter Doom's schemes. Sue Storm, as discussed previously, will likely serve as the team's strategic linchpin, balancing tactical considerations with moral imperatives. Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, may provide both dynamic combat sequences and narrative levity, creating moments of character-driven humor amidst escalating tension. Ben Grimm, the Thing, contributes physical strength and a grounding presence, embodying loyalty and steadfastness even as the universe teeters on the brink of chaos. The interactions among these four characters will explore familial bonds, teamwork under pressure, and the ethical responsibilities that come with extraordinary abilities. The X-Men's inclusion introduces another layer of narrative complexity. Characters such as Professor Charles Xavier and Magneto, whose involvement is hinted by prior announcements, bring both ideological contrast and high-stakes conflict resolution. Xavier's commitment to diplomacy and education contrasts sharply with Doom's authoritarian methods, while Magneto's morally gray persona could offer unpredictable alliances, potentially siding temporarily with Doom for strategic advantage or ultimately assisting the heroes in critical moments. These X-Men characters will contribute not only combat skills but also intellectual and moral perspectives that challenge the Avengers and Fantastic Four to reconsider their approaches. The film may explore themes of coexistence, prejudice, and the tension between individual freedom and collective responsibility, reflecting the X-Men's traditional narrative concerns. Action sequences in Avengers Doomsday are anticipated to be unprecedented in scale. Early rumors suggest massive battle scenes that involve simultaneous engagement across multiple terrains, urban landscapes, interdimensional realms, and technologically advanced fortresses. These battles will likely employ extensive CGI in conjunction with practical stunts, with choreography designed to emphasize the unique abilities of each character. For instance, Thor's godlike powers could interact with the quantum manipulation of Ant-Man, creating visually spectacular moments, while Sue Storm's force fields provide critical defensive strategies during large-scale assaults. Such sequences will likely be intercut with character-driven vignettes, ensuring that narrative stakes remain clear despite the high-octane spectacle. The film is expected to explore interdimensional or multiverse elements. Dr. Doom's mastery over both science and sorcery could enable him to manipulate alternate realities, creating situations in which heroes encounter alternate versions of themselves or confront moral dilemmas posed by realities where different choices led to different outcomes. This narrative device allows Marvel to incorporate fan-favorite characters, resurrect previously retired roles, and experiment with unconventional storylines while maintaining cohesion within the MCU. Moreover, the multiverse aspect amplifies the thematic exploration of consequence, choice, and the fragility of reality, concepts that have been gradually introduced in prior MCU projects. Character arcs will be intertwined with thematic explorations of legacy, sacrifice, and the cost of heroism. For example, Tony Stark's legacy, though absent in the physical sense, continues to resonate through the MCU, influencing characters like Dr. Doom, as played by Robert Downey Jr., Sam Wilson, and Peter Parker. Thor's internal journey may reflect the tension between mythic duty and personal agency, while Captain America's leadership arc continues to interrogate the responsibilities of moral authority. Secondary characters, such as Ant-Man, Yelena Belova, and Shang-Chi, are expected to undergo growth as well, learning to operate within a larger coalition while asserting their individual values and ethics. Thematically, Avengers Doomsday appears to emphasize the interplay between individual agency and collective action. Doom represents centralized, authoritarian power, while the diverse coalition of heroes embodies decentralized collaboration. The film is expected to contrast these approaches through narrative outcomes, demonstrating both the strengths and limitations of solitary genius versus teamwork. Additionally, the narrative may explore ethical ambiguities, particularly when heroes are forced to make decisions with far-reaching consequences. Such moral complexity aligns with Marvel's recent cinematic direction, which increasingly prioritizes character depth and philosophical inquiry alongside spectacle. From a production standpoint, Avengers Doomsday is notable for its logistical complexity. Coordinating multiple sets, filming units, and visual effects sequences requires a level of project management rarely seen in cinema. Pinewood Studios serves as the central hub, with expansive sound stages and adjacent backlots allowing simultaneous filming of different story threads. Practical set construction allows for immersive environments that actors can physically interact with, enhancing performance authenticity. Visual effects teams are tasked with seamlessly integrating CGI characters and environments with these practical sets, creating the illusion of continuous, expansive battlefields. Reports indicate that post-production will be equally intensive, involving months of editing, color grading, sound mixing, and visual effects integration to achieve the final cinematic experience. Musically, the score is expected to reflect the film's dual nature, balancing heroic fanfare with darker, ominous motifs associated with Doom's schemes. Themes from prior Avengers films may be reprised, creating continuity while introducing new motifs to represent the Fantastic Four and X-Men. Sound design is likely to emphasize both grandeur and subtlety, from the thunderous impact of superhero clashes to the quiet tension of strategic planning moments. This careful audio layering enhances emotional resonance and narrative clarity, ensuring that audiences can follow multiple concurrent storylines without confusion. Marketing for Avengers Doomsday has been deliberately restrained, emphasizing anticipation and secrecy. While no official trailer has been released, promotional interviews and select press releases hint at the scale and ambition of the project. Marvel appears to be leveraging controlled leaks, concept art, and character reveals to maintain fan excitement without revealing key plot points. This approach builds suspense, encourages fan speculation, and positions the film as a major cinematic event upon release. Ancillary marketing, including merchandise, tie-in comics, and digital campaigns, will likely complement this strategy, creating a holistic engagement ecosystem for audiences. A crucial component of Avengers Doomsday lies in its detailed treatment of individual heroes, whose past experiences and development throughout the MCU inform their actions and decisions in this multiversal-scale conflict. Thor, as portrayed by Chris Hemsworth, has undergone a significant evolution from the confident, sometimes reckless warrior introduced in Thor, 2011, to a more measured and reflective figure by the time of Doomsday. His journey includes confronting personal loss, understanding the responsibilities inherent in his godly powers, and embracing a leadership role that transcends the Asgardian context. In Doomsday, Thor's leadership is expected to manifest in both tactical battlefield decisions and moral guidance, serving as a unifying presence among heroes who have differing philosophies, backgrounds, and allegiances. Hemsworth's performance balances raw physicality with moments of gravitas, ensuring that Thor remains both a powerful combatant and an emotionally resonant character. Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson, as the current Captain America, embodies the themes of legacy and moral responsibility, having assumed the mantle from Steve Rogers at the conclusion of previous MCU narratives. Mackie's interpretation emphasizes collaboration and diplomacy as much as combat ability, reflecting the necessity of balancing personal ideals with the practical demands of a multiversal-scale crisis. Sam's interactions with heroes from the Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Wakanda are anticipated to explore the challenges of leadership within a heterogeneous coalition, highlighting both his diplomatic skills and moral steadfastness. Similarly, Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes brings a deeply personal narrative to the ensemble, representing themes of redemption, loyalty, and the psychological consequences of a violent past. Bucky's experience navigating complex moral landscapes and reconciling past actions is likely to provide a counterpoint to more straightforward heroism, adding narrative depth and human complexity to the overarching story. Paul Rudd's Ant-Man, Scott Lang, contributes not only strategic versatility through his size-altering abilities but also narrative levity, which is critical in maintaining audience engagement in films with high emotional and visual stakes. Ant-Man's role may involve exploring aspects of the multiverse, given his prior exposure to quantum realms in earlier films, potentially providing unique insights or tactical advantages against Doctor Doom. Simu Liu's Shang-Chi represents martial arts mastery and philosophical grounding, combining physical prowess with disciplined ethical frameworks, emphasizing the importance of strategy and personal integrity in confronting adversaries of extraordinary power. Florence Pugh's character, likely Yelena Belova or a related figure, provides tactical cunning and adaptability, while Letitia Wright's Shuri offers intellectual and technological innovation essential to combating Doom's sophisticated machinery and multiversal schemes. Vanessa Kirby's role, although not fully detailed, is expected to contribute leadership and bridging capabilities, particularly in unifying the different factions and facilitating strategic coordination. Dr. Doom, as interpreted by Robert Downey Jr., serves as the narrative and thematic focal point of the film. Doom's combination of scientific genius, magical aptitude, and political authority establishes him as a threat that transcends conventional hero-villain dynamics. His presence necessitates unprecedented collaboration among heroes and presents moral challenges that question the conventional definitions of right and wrong. Doom's multiversal ambitions suggest high-stakes scenarios involving manipulation of alternate realities, advanced technology capable of universe-altering effects, and strategic exploitation of hero vulnerabilities. By positioning Downey Jr. in this role, Marvel creates a dual-layered intrigue. Audiences are confronted with the familiar presence of an actor associated with heroism, now enacting a role defined by ambition, intellect, and moral complexity. This casting choice intensifies dramatic tension and deepens engagement, while ensuring that Doom's narrative importance is both central and unavoidable. The inclusion of X-Men characters represents a groundbreaking narrative and logistical integration within the MCU. These characters introduce powers and dynamics previously isolated from the main cinematic universe, allowing for innovative battle strategies, complex interpersonal interactions, and thematic exploration of identity, prejudice, and responsibility. The Fantastic Four further expand the narrative canvas, blending familial relationships with scientific expertise and cosmic awareness, providing both plot utility and emotional depth. The convergence of these franchises within a single film marks a milestone in the MCU's history, demonstrating the studio's capacity to unify disparate narrative threads into a coherent and compelling storyline. From a production perspective, the Russo brothers' directorial approach emphasizes both narrative clarity and spectacle. Coordinating multiple principal actors, stunt teams, visual effects crews, and practical set designers requires meticulous planning, with daily shooting schedules incorporating sequences of intense choreography, complex dialogue, and intricate technical execution. Locations in England, including historical landmarks and urban centers, provide versatile backdrops for both realistic and fantastical environments, while sequences in Bahrain contribute cinematic diversity and scale, essential for portraying multiversal or global threats. The practical construction of 80% of interior sets ensures tactile authenticity, while CGI augmentation allows for the realization of otherwise impossible sequences, such as multiversal rifts, energy manipulation, and large-scale hero-villain combat. Motion capture technologies are employed extensively, translating nuanced actor performances into fully realized digital characters, maintaining fidelity to expressions and physical movements critical to audience immersion. Alan Silvestri's orchestral score enhances both narrative and emotional resonance, employing recurring motifs for characters and groups that reinforce thematic continuity. Sound design integrates ambient environments, battle effects, and subtle auditory cues, emphasizing the grandeur and stakes of the multiversal conflict. Costume and prop design further integrate visual identity and narrative function, blending the iconic aesthetics of multiple franchises while ensuring continuity and realism. Marvel's production and post-production teams collaborate closely to synchronize these elements, resulting in a polished cinematic experience that combines technical sophistication with narrative coherence. Marketing strategy for Avengers Doomsday reflects careful orchestration, utilizing controlled announcements, behind-the-scenes footage, and selective teaser content to build anticipation. Social media engagement and fan speculation play significant roles, with audiences actively discussing character dynamics, narrative possibilities, and potential multiverse implications. This strategy maximizes both immediate engagement and long-term interest, ensuring that the film maintains cultural relevance leading up to its release. The strategic timing of the release on December 18, 2026, positions the film during the holiday season, maximizing audience turnout and capitalizing on the cinematic momentum generated by previous Phase 6 releases. Narratively, Doomsday operates on multiple levels: individual hero arcs, inter-franchise alliances, and multiversal consequences. Heroes face physical challenges, moral dilemmas, and strategic conundrums, highlighting the necessity of unity, sacrifice, and adaptability. Dr. Doom functions as both an antagonist and thematic catalyst, challenging ethical norms, strategic assumptions, and the cohesion of the hero coalition. The Russo brothers' approach ensures that character agency remains central, balancing ensemble spectacle with meaningful personal narratives. The narrative also establishes continuity and context for subsequent MCU projects, particularly Avengers, Secret Wars, providing both exposition and foreshadowing critical to audience understanding and franchise coherence. Post-production emphasizes precision, with integration of CGI, practical effects, editing, color grading, sound mixing, and musical scoring. Large-scale battle sequences, multiversal rifts, and intricate hero-villain interactions require detailed planning and execution to ensure narrative clarity and visual coherence. The combination of practical and digital effects creates immersive environments, allowing audiences to perceive scale, depth, and consequence while maintaining engagement with character-driven moments. Cultural impact and franchise significance are substantial. By uniting multiple Marvel properties and long-established characters, the film functions as both a cinematic milestone and a narrative convergence point. Fan engagement is already high, reflecting anticipation for interactions among heroes, strategic confrontations with Dr. Doom, and narrative resolutions that carry implications for the MCU's multiverse. The ensemble nature, cross-franchise integration, and high production values set expectations for a landmark cinematic event, with potential influence on future storytelling, production approaches, and franchise development. Comparisons to prior Avengers films underscore Doomsday's ambition. While Infinity War and Endgame centered on Thanos and primarily Avengers-focused narratives, Doomsday expands across multiple franchises, multiversal scenarios, and a more diverse ensemble. The technical achievements, narrative scope, and production complexity indicate an evolution in Marvel's blockbuster filmmaking, highlighting their commitment to innovation, continuity, and audience engagement. Themes of unity, ethical responsibility, sacrifice, and leadership are interwoven with spectacular visual sequences, providing both intellectual and emotional resonance. Thematic exploration extends to the ethical and strategic implications of multiversal power. Characters must navigate moral complexity, make difficult choices with universe-altering consequences, and reconcile personal ambitions with collective responsibility. Doctor Doom exemplifies these challenges, presenting scenarios that test both hero capabilities and their ethical frameworks. The film's structure allows for reflection on leadership, cooperation, and the balance between individual agency and group cohesion, reinforcing narrative depth alongside blockbuster spectacle. Speculative scene-by-scene breakdowns of Avengers, Doomsday suggest a film of unprecedented narrative density and visual spectacle. The opening sequence is likely to establish the multiversal threat, immediately conveying the scale of Doctor Doom's plan. Unlike previous MCU openings that often start with a single character or minor incident, Doomsday may open simultaneously across multiple locations and realities, highlighting the stakes and introducing early tension between teams. A probable sequence involves the X-Men detecting temporal or multiversal anomalies, followed by the Avengers encountering the initial effects of Doom's machinations on Earth. These parallel storylines are expected to converge in mid-film, setting the stage for large-scale cooperation and demonstrating the narrative principle that unity is required to confront a threat of cosmic proportions. Early conflict sequences may focus on internal dynamics among the heroes. Given the diversity of the cast, it is plausible that Thor and Sam Wilson will clash over leadership decisions, while Professor X and Captain America may debate ethical approaches to multiversal intervention. These exchanges serve not only as character development but also as a narrative device to illustrate the complexity of collaboration under extreme circumstances. Additionally, characters like Yelena Belova and Shang-Chi might be tasked with tactical infiltration or intelligence-gathering missions, creating opportunities for suspenseful, focused sequences that contrast with the film's grand-scale battles. The interplay of personal and collective stakes reinforces Marvel's recent trend of blending action with character-driven storytelling. Doctor Doom's schemes are likely to unfold gradually, demonstrating his intellectual superiority and strategic foresight. Unlike antagonists who rely primarily on brute force, Doom is expected to manipulate multiple realities, set traps, and exploit both hero and villain weaknesses to advance his objectives. A key sequence may involve Doom leveraging a multiverse portal or anomaly, causing heroes to face alternate versions of themselves, each reflecting different moral or ethical choices. These confrontations not only heighten tension but also provide insight into the characters' identities, fears, and growth. By challenging heroes in both psychological and physical dimensions, Doom establishes himself as a complex and multifaceted adversary, whose defeat cannot be achieved through strength alone. Major battle sequences are expected to interweave multiple teams and environments, offering a dynamic visual narrative. For example, the Fantastic Four may engage Doom's technological constructs in urban or industrial settings, while the Avengers confront multiversal anomalies in natural or cosmic landscapes. Thor's celestial powers could intersect with Doctor Doom's magical and technological capabilities, creating visually striking combat sequences that combine practical effects, CGI, and motion capture performance. Meanwhile, characters like Ant-Man and Wasp may operate in microscale environments, adding unique spatial dynamics to the battlefield. These overlapping conflicts allow for a choreography that emphasizes both spectacle and character-specific abilities, ensuring that each hero contributes meaningfully to the resolution of the central conflict. Internal character conflicts are likely to complement external battles, reflecting the film's thematic focus on unity and moral complexity. Bucky Barnes and Magneto, for instance, may have differing views on how far heroes should go to prevent multiversal collapse, providing philosophical tension that challenges team cohesion. Similarly, Sue Storm may struggle with balancing protective instincts toward her team with the necessity of risk-taking in battle. These internal dilemmas create narrative depth, illustrating that heroism involves difficult decisions and personal sacrifice, not merely physical prowess. The inclusion of multiversal variants further amplifies these conflicts, as characters confront alternative versions of themselves who embody different choices, values, or consequences, prompting reflection and personal growth. Dr. Doom's climactic strategy is likely to involve a combination of technological domination and magical manipulation, reflecting his canonical abilities in the comics. By leveraging both intellect and sorcery, Doom can destabilize the multiverse, forcing heroes to adapt and innovate. Strategic countermeasures may include coordinated attacks across timelines, use of reality-altering artifacts, or exploitation of specific hero vulnerabilities. The resolution of these strategies will likely require collaboration across teams, emphasizing that collective ingenuity and moral courage are as crucial as raw power. The culmination of these efforts is expected to be a grand confrontation, potentially involving the neutralization or reconfiguration of multiversal portals, a showdown with Doom, and decisive actions by key characters such as Thor, Sam Wilson, and Sue Storm. Production techniques contribute significantly to these narrative ambitions. Cinematographers are reportedly employing advanced camera techniques, including dynamic tracking, multi-layered visual composition, and integrated CGI overlays, to convey scale, depth, and simultaneity. Battle sequences are likely to combine practical stunts with digital augmentation, ensuring both authenticity and spectacle. Furthermore, the orchestral score by Alan Silvestri is expected to synchronize with narrative beats, accentuating tension, triumph, and emotional resonance. Sound design, lighting, and visual effects are being integrated in a holistic approach to immerse audiences fully into the multiverse-spanning conflicts, creating a cinematic experience that is both cohesive and spectacular. The cultural impact and audience reception of Avengers Doomsday are anticipated to be significant. Given the ensemble nature of the film, fan engagement is likely to revolve around speculation regarding character interactions, potential deaths, and post-credit teases for the next MCU phase. The film's integration of X-Men and Fantastic Four properties represents a milestone in the MCU's long-term strategy to consolidate previously separate franchises, a move that is expected to generate both excitement and critical analysis. Social media discussions, fan theories, and cinematic critiques are likely to focus on narrative coherence, visual execution, and the management of such a vast ensemble, reflecting broader interest in how mega-franchise storytelling can evolve in complexity and scale. Moreover, the implications for MCU continuity are profound. Doomsday is positioned to serve as a narrative bridge into subsequent films, including Avengers, Secret Wars. Character arcs, unresolved plotlines, and multiversal consequences will likely influence Phase 6's overarching structure, shaping storytelling strategies, thematic focus, and audience expectations. By integrating legacy characters, new heroes, and multiversal elements, Marvel Studios is effectively setting a precedent for complex, interconnected cinematic narratives, where the outcome of a single film has reverberating consequences across multiple titles, characters, and audience experiences. Ultimately, Avengers Doomsday is not merely a cinematic event but a cultural and narrative milestone. Its ambition lies in its synthesis of spectacle, character depth, thematic resonance, and multiverse complexity. By uniting diverse heroes, challenging moral and philosophical paradigms, and leveraging cutting-edge production techniques, the film exemplifies the evolution of modern blockbuster storytelling. Audiences can expect a cinematic experience that balances the grandeur of epic battles with the intimacy of personal conflict, offering both entertainment and narrative reflection. The convergence of the Avengers, X-Men, and Fantastic Four under a singular multiversal threat underscores the thematic core of unity, resilience, and the enduring struggle between moral conviction and existential challenge, promising a film that is both a culmination and a launching point for the next era of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Avengers Doomsday provides a rare opportunity to examine individual character arcs in unprecedented detail due to its expansive ensemble cast and multiverse-spanning stakes. Each character, whether a legacy hero, a newly introduced figure, or a returning franchise icon, is expected to confront both external and internal challenges that test their physical, emotional, and moral limits. Sam Wilson, as the new Captain America, embodies a central narrative thread. His journey represents the burdens of legacy, as he navigates the expectations placed upon him by the mantle of Steve Rogers, while also asserting his own values and leadership style. Sam's arc likely explores themes of responsibility, courage, and identity, particularly in sequences where he must make morally complex decisions that affect both his team and multiple realities. His interactions with Thor, Reed Richards, and Professor X provide contrasting perspectives on leadership and problem-solving, creating opportunities for mentorship, ideological debate, and collaborative growth. Thor's narrative arc continues to balance godly power with mortal responsibility. Throughout his previous MCU appearances, Thor has grappled with the consequences of his actions on both cosmic and personal scales. In Avengers Doomsday, his godlike abilities are juxtaposed against the ethical and strategic challenges presented by Dr. Doom. Thor's involvement in key battles is expected to be both visually spectacular and narratively significant, as his choices influence the fates of multiple heroes and realities. Interactions with Sam Wilson, the new Avengers, and the Fantastic Four may highlight contrasts between impulsive action and careful planning, while providing moments of personal reflection and emotional resonance. These sequences are likely to explore themes of humility, sacrifice, and the evolving definition of heroism within the multiversal context. Dr. Doom, as the primary antagonist, represents a convergence of intellect, strategy, and mysticism. His manipulation of both heroes and the multiverse elevates him beyond a conventional villain, positioning him as a narrative architect whose actions have cascading consequences. Doom's ability to anticipate and exploit vulnerabilities, both physical and psychological, forces heroes to confront their limitations, alliances, and moral frameworks. The casting of Robert Downey Jr. adds layers of meta-narrative, as audiences reconcile the actor's legacy as Tony Stark with the morally complex and often antagonistic nature of Doom. This dynamic enriches the narrative, creating tension and emotional stakes while underscoring the film's thematic exploration of duality, power, and responsibility. The Fantastic Four's individual arcs complement those of the Avengers and X-Men while introducing unique narrative dimensions. Reed Richards, as the team's intellectual leader, is anticipated to devise strategies that counter Doom's multiversal manipulations. Sue Storm's leadership and empathetic approach may provide narrative stability, particularly in emotionally charged or morally ambiguous situations. Johnny Storm and Ben Grimm contribute dynamic energy, humor, and grounded perspectives, balancing the more cerebral or ethereal aspects of other factions. Their inclusion reinforces themes of collaboration, problem-solving, and ethical decision-making, emphasizing that heroism encompasses intellect, morality, and teamwork alongside raw power. The X-Men provide both narrative depth and thematic resonance. Characters such as Professor X, with his ethical deliberation and strategic insight, act as both moral compass and intellectual guide. Mutant characters with diverse powers offer tactical versatility, allowing the film to explore creative solutions to complex challenges while simultaneously highlighting ethical considerations. The X-Men's historical focus on prejudice, responsibility, and coexistence introduces philosophical questions that intersect with the Avengers' more pragmatic, action-oriented approach. This interplay fosters tension, narrative complexity, and opportunities for character growth, as heroes learn to navigate differences in philosophy, strategy, and interpersonal dynamics. Speculative battle sequences are expected to reflect both narrative and thematic concerns. Multiversal confrontations likely involve simultaneous engagements across parallel realities, requiring heroes to coordinate strategies that account for divergent outcomes. For example, one sequence may feature Thor and Sam Wilson leading an assault against Doom's forces in a primary timeline, while another depicts Reed Richards, Sue Storm, and the X-Men mitigating threats in an alternate dimension. These battles are designed not only to deliver spectacle but also to advance character arcs, test moral frameworks, and illustrate the consequences of multiversal manipulation. Each faction's unique abilities are expected to be showcased strategically, ensuring that combat sequences reinforce narrative logic and thematic coherence. Emotional climaxes are anticipated to occur at both personal and collective levels. Individual characters may confront past regrets, test personal limits, or make sacrifices that impact multiversal outcomes. For example, Sam Wilson may be forced to choose between the safety of a single faction and the broader survival of multiple realities, reflecting the ethical burdens of leadership. Thor may grapple with the consequences of his prior actions, reconciling his godly power with mortal accountability. The Fantastic Four and X-Men may face dilemmas that challenge their core principles, requiring creative problem-solving, moral deliberation, and collaborative ingenuity. These emotional beats are expected to resonate with audiences, providing depth and relatability amidst the scale of spectacle. Interpersonal relationships play a central role in narrative resolution. Mentorship, ideological debate, camaraderie, and conflict provide narrative texture that elevates the film beyond a simple action spectacle. Sam Wilson may develop a deeper understanding of heroism through interactions with Thor, Professor X, or Reed Richards, while new heroes navigate the challenges of establishing trust and cohesion among a diverse ensemble. Rivalries or ethical disagreements between characters may create tension that heightens stakes and contributes to narrative suspense. By resolving these interpersonal dynamics alongside climactic battles, the film integrates character-driven storytelling with spectacle in a manner consistent with Marvel's evolving narrative philosophy. Dr. Doom's strategies are expected to culminate in high-stakes confrontations that test heroes' intellectual, ethical, and physical limits. Doom's manipulation of the multiverse may introduce unexpected variables, forcing heroes to adapt dynamically and make rapid strategic decisions. This narrative device heightens tension, fosters character growth, and reinforces the thematic focus on collaboration, responsibility, and moral decision-making. Each hero's contribution, whether in combat, strategic planning, or moral guidance, is likely to be integral to resolving the central conflict, emphasizing the interconnectedness of action, ethics, and narrative consequence. The integration of visual storytelling, sound design, and music further enhances narrative impact. Cinematography, editing, and visual effects are expected to distinguish multiple realities, highlight character abilities, and reinforce thematic motifs. Music composed by Alan Silvestri likely employs leitmotifs that signal character presence, emotional stakes, and narrative shifts, providing auditory cues that complement visual storytelling. Sound effects, including those associated with multiversal travel, mystical powers, and technological phenomena, create an immersive experience that reinforces narrative clarity and emotional engagement. Marketing strategies reinforce these narrative and thematic elements, emphasizing ensemble dynamics, multiverse intrigue, and the convergence of legacy and new heroes. Teaser campaigns, merchandise, and convention appearances are strategically timed to build anticipation while preserving critical plot surprises. Interactive experiences and tie-in media allow audiences to engage with characters, factions, and multiverse concepts, extending the narrative beyond the cinematic experience and fostering sustained engagement. Finally, Avengers Doomsday represents a narrative culmination and transformative entry in the MCU. By balancing large-scale spectacle with nuanced character arcs, ethical dilemmas, and multiverse complexities, the film exemplifies Marvel's capacity for integrated, character-driven storytelling within a blockbuster framework. The anticipated resolution, involving both personal growth and collective heroism, reinforces themes of responsibility, collaboration, and the consequences of power. The film's innovative integration of multiple franchises, coupled with meticulous production design and narrative planning, ensures that Avengers Doomsday will not only entertain but also resonate with audiences on intellectual, emotional, and thematic levels. The opening of Avengers Doomsday immediately immerses the audience in a multiverse teetering on collapse. Realities flicker like unstable holograms, buildings shimmering and phasing in and out of existence, entire cityscapes folding in on themselves. The camera follows Thor as he lands on the crumbling streets of New Asgard, lightning cascading from Mjolnir and eyes narrowed at the subtle distortions in reality. Sam Wilson, in his Captain America uniform, arrives moments later, wings slicing through distorted air, landing with precision next to Thor. The two exchange a brief, tense dialogue, Thor's confidence tempered by recent failures, Sam's calm pragmatism a counterpoint. Their conversation, almost casual, underlines their awareness of stakes far beyond mere physical confrontation. Meanwhile, in another reality, the Fantastic Four navigate a cityscape that simultaneously exists and collapses, Johnny Storm phasing between dimensions with ease while Ben Grimm struggles against shifting gravitational forces. Sue Storm's force fields shimmer constantly, stabilizing crumbling structures as the team moves strategically to rescue civilians trapped between overlapping realities. Shuri, coordinating with Ant-Man through holographic projections, calculates multiverse instability points in real time, her technological acumen bridging human ingenuity with cosmic chaos. Dr. Doom makes his entrance with characteristic gravitas, his armor a blend of mysticism and cutting-edge technology, energy crackling across its surface. His presence warps reality itself, every step echoes with subtle temporal distortions, ripples of alternate possibilities manifesting around him. He delivers his initial proclamation not with malice, but with calm certainty, challenging heroes' ideologies as much as their abilities. You fight for the freedom of realities you cannot even perceive, Doom intones, his voice a mixture of steel and philosophy, and yet you cling to the illusion that you can control what should be corrected. The first battle sequence erupts across multiple realities. Thor channels a massive lightning strike that intersects with Doom's temporal shield, creating an explosion of cascading energy that tears through the fabric of space. Cyclops unleashes a concentrated optic blast, aiming at Doom's armored chest, but Doom manipulates the trajectory mid-air, redirecting energy toward a rift that threatens to consume the surrounding city. Magneto arrives, magnetic fields twisting steel and debris into impromptu shields, his past conflicts with Professor X creating immediate tension as the two coordinate the protection of civilians. The heroes must work in unison, synchronizing attacks across realities, often separated by collapsing dimensional barriers, communicating through devices, telepathy, and rapid strategic decision-making. Shuri directs parallel teams through holographic projections, her voice a calm anchor amidst chaos. Thor, redirect your energy burst to the North Rift. Johnny, phase through the collapse and stabilize the structural nodes. These commands illustrate not only her intelligence but her leadership potential in a multiversal crisis, bridging tactical precision with empathy for the lives at risk. Each hero's action is consequential, even a minor misstep risks annihilation across timelines. Dr. Doom, meanwhile, executes a plan that reveals his mastery over both magic and science. He destabilizes one universe while reinforcing another, forcing the heroes to prioritize which realities to defend. His movements are almost surgical, combining martial prowess with spellcraft and technological manipulation. Doom's intellect shines as he anticipates the heroes' tactics, forcing them to improvise and adapt continuously. This establishes a rhythm to the conflict: attack, anticipate, adjust, an ongoing chess match where the board spans multiple realities simultaneously. The narrative deepens with interpersonal moments amid battle. Sam Wilson, witnessing a young mutant trapped in a shifting dimension, hesitates between immediate rescue or maintaining the offensive against Doom. Thor places a reassuring hand on his shoulder, emphasizing strategy without sacrificing compassion. Magneto, witnessing a similar scenario, demonstrates a more pragmatic approach, creating moral tension that echoes throughout the narrative. These subtle, emotionally charged moments give weight to the epic battles, showing that heroism is defined not merely by strength but by choice, ethics, and leadership under pressure. In subsequent sequences, the X-Men and Fantastic Four collaborate to counteract Doom's manipulations.